Welcome to English Without Limits. In today's lesson, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a listening exercise. We will listen to a very famous story. This story is called The Princess and the Pea. And when we have finished listening to it, we will answer some questions and watch the children as they act out the story. They will perform it. And maybe you would even like to do the same thing. Maybe you would like to perform the story in your class. So this lesson will be a little bit longer than usual. I hope you enjoy the lesson. In our last lesson, we learned about the past progressive tense. We learned how it's different from the past simple tense. We learned how to form it, and we learned how to use it. Let's join the class as they begin to review this material.
Well, good afternoon. I hope you all had a good weekend. You're glad to be back. We're going to do a quick review on the lesson that we talked about last. And I have some sentences up here. Misha's not here today, but maybe Misha walked to the park. Do we remember that this is called simple past? Yeah. So now, what would I put here? How would I change walk to make it fit in here?
Was walking.
Was walking, exactly. Was walking. But what if Misha took some friends? So Misha and his friends, what? Were walking. So now we would change this to say were walking. Good. Can you guys tell me some other sentence that would work here? Maybe we could change they. Ooh, very nice. They. And what else could they do besides go to the park? They were talking. They were talking. What about over here we have when. So they were talking. When what? What happened?
When they saw the UFO.
When they saw what?
UFO.
Oh, they were talking when they saw a UFO. What does UFO stand for?
Uncovered flying object.
Unidentified flying object. Good. What about up here? How can we make another sentence that uses was? Let's say Vika. What was Vika doing? Vika was what?
Playing computer games.
Playing. Oh, playing. Playing, and then what happened? Was playing, we'll say a game when
she had breakfast.
When she had breakfast. Was playing a game when she had breakfast. I'll put it down here. Good job. Very good. Good.
Let's review some of this together. To form the past progressive tense, we take the auxiliary verb to be and we say was or were. Was for one, were if there are two or more. Then we take the verb and we add ing to the verb. So we would say things like, I was playing. She was singing. Or if there's more than one person, we use were. We say, we were cooking. So this is how we form it. But do you remember what it means? It means that the thing in the past went on for some time. It was long. We don't know how long, but it was going on for a while. And something else broke into it. So there are two things happening. One of them is going on, and the other event might come in the middle, or it might come later. But somehow these two events connect with each other. So we would say something like, I was cooking dinner, something that takes a while. It's a little bit long. When the phone rang, the phone happens during that time while this one was going on. Or maybe we would say, I was cooking dinner before you came over. So one thing went on for a while and then something else afterwards. So this tense tells us two things and how they relate to each other. So to practice this a little bit, I would like you to turn to the person beside you and tell them what you were doing before you came to this class. You would say, before class, I was, maybe you were working, maybe you were playing, maybe you were walking. But tell them what you were doing. So remember to use was and the verb and ing. All right, are you ready? Let's begin. Please stop the video and do the activity. In today's lesson, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to listen to a story, then we will answer some questions about it, and then the children will act it out. The story is called The Princess and the Pea. In English cultures, this story is very well known. Many of us heard this story many times as a child, and we all like it very much. But we're going to practice listening. We will listen for certain information, and then we will have to answer some questions afterwards. Now, before we get going in that practice, the teacher is going to teach us some of the new words we will need to learn, some of the vocabulary. So let's join the class as they begin to learn the vocabulary for The Princess and the Pea.
So we are going to move on to an activity on listening. Okay, so I'm going to read you a story, and you are going to listen very carefully. And then I'm going to ask you some questions. But before I read the story, I want to make sure that you know all the words in the story. So, can you tell me, just a reminder, what is a prince?
It's a guy who has a white horse and a lot of money.
Oh, a guy who has a white horse and a big house. Maybe he lives in a castle?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And what about a princess? Lena, do you know what a princess is? Does she wear a crown? Yes.
And her mom is the queen.
Oh, her mom is the queen. And who would her dad be? The king. Good. So we have prince. And we have princess. And we have king. And queen. And what about mattress? What is a mattress? What do you sleep on at night?
Oh, it's a mattress.
Yes, you sleep on your bed, but
Soft.
So here's my bed. And here's my head. There. So this part right here, mattress. Yes, I'm sleeping. Okay? So this story has a prince, a princess, a king, a queen, and some mattresses. Sounds like a funny story, don't you think? Mattress. What about thunder and lightning? What is thunder?
Thunder is some event that blows some light.
Didn't we have a storm last week?
Yeah.
I think last Friday, last Thursday, there was a storm. And so when there's a storm, yes, it's the sound. And lightning is the when there's. This is lightning. Okay? Okay? And the thunder is the.
Blows up rain.
Yes. Well, thunder is not wind. It's just a noise. A noise. Okay? And one more word is a gate. What is a gate?
It's a metal thing that used to maybe some go enter the castle.
Okay, so a gate, you have, maybe there's like this, and then, and, there's a
Maybe
gate.
we have such a bigger gate in castle.
Maybe this could be, this is a gate too. Okay? Gate and gate. Okay? Or a big door. Okay? So these are the words in our story. So I'm going to read you a story now, and you will listen. Okay? Just listen, and I will read it twice, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. Okay? So are you ready? This story, one more word. What is a pea that you eat? Is it something you eat? What does it look like?
Peach?
A pea. It is spelled like that. It is a little green vegetable.
I know it.
And there's a whole bunch of them. And they're sometimes in a little pod. That. You eat them in a soup, or maybe just on your plate.
When they are young, they are very.
You eat in the soup and the rice.
Yes, in soup or in rice. Okay? So, now you have all the words.
Now that you have learned some of the new words that you will hear in the story, let's listen to it. The first time you listen, you may not understand everything in the story, and that's okay. You don't have to understand everything. Just try to get the general idea. Try to get the big picture for what's going on this time. We will listen to the story again, and then you can get more information from it the second time. All right? Now, this story is about a princess. The princess is a girl whose father is the king. And it's about a pea. a little tiny vegetable, very, very small. Now, what could a princess have to do with a pea? Well, let's listen to the story and find out.
So this story is called The Princess and the Pea, right? Once upon a time, there was a prince who wanted to marry a princess. But she would have to be a real princess. He traveled all over the world to find one, but nowhere could he find what he wanted. There were many princesses, but it was difficult to find out whether they were real ones. There was always something about them that was not as it should be. So he came home again and was sad, for he would have liked very much to have a real princess. One evening, a terrible storm came. There was thunder and lightning, and the rain poured down. Suddenly, a knocking was heard at the city gate, and the old king went to open it. It was a princess standing out there in front of the gate. But oh my, what a sight the rain and the wind had made her look. The water ran down from her hair and her clothes. It ran down into the toes of her shoes and out again at her heels. And yet, she said that she was a real princess. Well, well, we'll soon find out, thought the old queen. But she said nothing and went to the bedroom, took all the bedding off the bed, and laid a pea on the bottom. Then she took 20 mattresses and laid them on top. And then she took 20 feather mattresses and put them on top. The princess had to lie on this all night. In the morning, she was asked how she had slept. "Oh, very badly," she said. "I scarcely closed my eyes all night. Heaven only knows what was in the bed, but I was lying on something so hard. So now I am black and blue and bruised all over. It's horrible." Now they knew that she was a real princess because she had felt the pea right through 20 mattresses and 20 feather mattresses. Nobody but a real princess could be as sensitive as that. So the prince took her for his wife, for now he knew that he had a real princess, and the pea was put in the museum where it may still be seen if no one has stolen it. And that is a true story. Okay. So do you have any questions before I read it one more time? Were there any other words?
I already read this story.
What?
I already read it.
You've already heard this story. Oh, okay.
And how can princess leap this back is so high?
Yes, it would be very hard. But in this story, they believed that a princess could feel the tiniest thing if she was real, because she was used to very soft things. So if a princess was real, she should be able to feel the tiniest pebble under her bed.
Now that you have heard the story once, let's listen to it again, and this time you can try to find more information in the story. Listen for more of the details. So as we listen this time, try to listen for these things. What does the prince want? The prince, what is he looking for? What is he hoping for? And then when the princess arrives, what is the weather like outside? What kind of a night is it? And then the queen, what does the queen do? And that makes the story very interesting. Let's listen to it again, and I hope you can hear that information.